Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. And it's a hellfire sort of burning this time, because this video is the 666th episode! And yep, an occasion like this, an episode that's the number of the beast and all that, doesn't come along that often. Although there are apparently different interpretations of this, that the hellishly associated number is actually supposed to be 616, which, as I've joked before, would mean that the Marvel Universe itself is associated most with hell, given its numerical designation. A bit accurate, honestly. But that would mean that the fun episode marked for the occasion would be the Patreon-sponsored episode of the Heroic Green Goblin series, and that does not feel right. But yeah, for an occasion like this, we need something special. Something with not only a story appropriate to the occasion, but a story behind the comic itself. And thus we have the infamous Marvel Super Special Number 1, Kiss, printed with Kiss's blood! Well, to be clear here, this was a publicity stunt. The four members of KISS had some of their blood mixed with the red ink for the comic. Gene Simmons can't recall who it was exactly who came up with the idea, but that they were all on board with it. Their blood was taken during a concert stop, and then they flew up to New York for the publicity images of them pouring the vials of blood into the ink. For the sake of authenticity, they even had a notary public certify the process. There was apparently a rumor that a mix-up at the printers made the red ink actually go into a print run of Sports Illustrated magazine by mistake, and not the KISS comic, but that's never been verified. I sadly do not have a physical copy of this one, and while me not having a physical copy has become more common on the show, it's not for lack of trying, it's just that copies of this fetch pretty high prices. Minimum I saw on eBay once was $70. And I get why that is. Mostly. The thing is, this was printed back in 1977, when the industry would regularly make massive sales. There are apparently 900,000 copies of this book that were printed. It's not like the thing is rare. Sure, the blood thing is cool, but there's no way to verify that any particular copy has part of the blood in it. By that same token, you can't be sure that it doesn't have the blood in there either, but it seems like the price inflation is a bit much for that. But hey, this is a cool behind-the-scenes story and all, but why this book for the 666th? Well, let's dig into Marvel Super Special Number 1, Kiss, and I'll show you.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, ghosts, gods, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
The cover's okay, if a bit weird. Admittedly, I only know so much about KISS. Bear in mind that the last time I talked about them, I needed Todd in the Shadows to come on and explain them in more detail. Mostly I know Rock and Roll All Night, their cover of God Gave Rock and Roll to You, the makeup, Gene Simmons' tongue, and them meeting the Phantom of the Park. Something that I didn't know about them was that they all wore massive platform boots. These are a real thing, and hey, no judgment, especially since the one Gene Simmons is wearing, are actually called Destroyer, though my Google searches keep listing them as Demon Destroyer, which really goes to show why this was such a good pick for this episode. Yeah, his stage name was the Demon. I'm not that lacking in knowledge. Anyway, yeah, they're all standing in some kind of fiery haze, some orange cliffside or something. The black and white of their outfits really does pop out well on the cover. 40 pages of full-color comics, plus never-before-published photos and features. Printed in real KISS blood. Wow, they published the photos in KISS blood too? I hope none of them were anemic. They must have given a lot for all this. Poor spaceman on the side there just looks awkward. Oh man, guys, I rode my bike out here and I put my hands in something sticky. We open in Manhattan, where Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are walking down the street, though apparently they have not yet become the band. Gene is complaining that his father ordered him to chuck his comic collection. What? That's ridiculous! You need to keep your comic collection long enough so that eventually you start your own weekly internet show where you complain about the thing you supposedly love and realize that it will never get better as the big two continually reboot or do horrible things to characters you love, and wow, I made myself sad. And then launched into his become a CPA and see the world routine. CPAs, well known for their globe-trotting. The hell of it is, Paul, I keep thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe life is just shopping lists and car payments and checkbooks and Con Ed bills. And crippling debt, don't forget that. And being too old for comic books, man. Too old and tired and plugged into reality to let yourself dream. Yes, I too dream of the day when I can bite into a vulture's neck like Aquaman. Paul says they shouldn't give up on their dreams. He sees them as superstars, not accountants. Still, Gene thinks that maybe he's too old for comics and throws away his Conan the Barbarian issue. Bring on the real world. I admit it, you really don't meet barbarians on the street of New York in 1977. Now in 1958, the streets were swarming with Sumerians. Anyway, they turn the corner and see a dude in a furry loincloth fighting random people. Okay, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that's just Gary Gygax and not a barbarian. Not gonna touch on the shirt, dude must have just raided a Goodwill before coming out here. Gene can spot that behind the guy's glasses he's blind, yet still fighting off an entire gang of people who want the red box he's carrying around. Before the two can step in to help, the guy seems to recognize them and tosses the box towards them. Heads up, flaming youth! Hither cometh thy destiny! You are foretold to take this special edition GameCube and play Soul Calibur. For within yon box reside thine own selves, thy love and thy rage, thy grace and thy power. Unfortunately, he left that box back at his house, and this one just contains his mixtapes. The truth and the mystery of mind and body, intellect and emotion, time and space. Also a Denny's coupon. Do not forsake Baconalia. He encourages them to run, which they quickly do, the gang chasing after them. We cut over to an arcade, where Peter Criss and Ace Frehley are hanging out. Ace in particular spending all his time at the pinball machine. Come on, Ace, you've been playing that same ball for half an hour now. 980,000 points is enough. In another universe, Kiss made Tommy instead of The Who. Peter wants a turn to the pinball machine and tells him to let the ball drop, but Ace is too eloquent for that. If only it were up to me, I would say drop, and the little ball would drop. But pinball isn't the stock market, Curly. An unfounded rumor, an injudicious word will cause a stock to drop. The cosmos, of which pinball is a microcosm of, the music of the spheres, plays on. Am I making myself clear, Curly? Not really. In this analogy, is the pinball a quasar, or the pinball is a planet falling into the quasar, and the paddles are, like, gravity? And what does the bonus score represent? Gene and Paul come running by and toss the red cube to Peter, telling him to hide it while they head into a photo booth to evade the gang. The other two spot the gang as they begin searching, even saying they'll tear the place apart to look for it. Ace apparently is enraptured with the box, talking about how pretty it is, and in this panel looks like he's having an orgasm while holding it. He keeps rambling to himself like he was frickin' Gollum holding the One Ring about how priceless and important it is, but Peter just grabs him and pulls him into the now very crowded photo booth. The gang, now knowing where they are, demands they come out or they'll just grab them with their knives. Ace opens up the box and the four are enraptured by its contents. Kiss action figures that are way larger than the box they were in. Well, except for Paul, apparently he doesn't get an action figure, just that little star token. Or maybe the Pokemon Staryu is really a long-lost, forgotten member of Kiss. 3 odd wood carvings and a black star. The symbolism is obscure at best. Clearly, this is some kind of fertility symbol. Like, it's just a weird sentence for this. The symbolism is obscure. Maybe that would make sense if all of them were like the Black Star, just a random shape representing their Kiss personas. But the little wooden Kiss dolls are not exactly obscure symbolism. But yeah, smoke emits from the photo booth and our heroes burst out, now fully changed into their band personas. And the four youths emerge, bizarrely transformed! You think this is weird? Wait until you see their combiner mode. The goons are unimpressed by the quick change act and a fight scene erupts, with Gene Simmons, now the demon, actually spitting fire at them. Also, apparently the snake boots are alive, since Balding Thug here says it bit him. Although admittedly I'm not sure how it does that, considering it technically only has the top half of a jaw. Or does he mean he stepped on him? Anyway, Catman comments on this. Far out! Gene sounds like a cross between a bulldozer and a dinosaur. Okay, I've got our next Asylum B movie to make. Bulldozer. It's kind of like Killdozer, but it's a half bulldozer, half dinosaur creature. Starchild confronts a guy with nunchaku. Well, alright! A Bruce Lee fan! But I got news for you, nunchaku! The dragon is dead! You dig it? Dead and gone! And you're paralyzed with grief! And we see a black light come out of the star makeup on his eye. So Starchild's power is depression vision? With the goons dealt with, they decide to get away before the cops show up, and Space Ace uses his own power, teleportation. The bald goon contacts someone on a wrist communicator to inform his boss that they got away. And apparently the wristwatch also has a "you failed me" setting on it, since the guy is vaporized over this. Kiss rematerializes in the South Ferry near the Statue of Liberty, much to their own surprise. They finally take a moment to realize that this is all kind of weird, what with them now looking like comic book horror hosts that annoy me but in glam rock outfits, plus them having superpowers. And then there's the matter of the moon. For the last time, Ace, no one cares if they draw the moon huge in comic books. It's just done for dramatic effect. Tonight is the new moon, but it looks overstuffed. Dude, stop fat shaming the moon. You're just being a dick. However, it turns out that the moon flies down to them as a spaceship. Oh crap, now I want a Kiss cover of Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft. Frightening because it is not the moon. Just a good likeness, used to mask something stranger by far. Why is the inside of this thing covered with erotic photos of George Foreman grills? However, the moon ship is not for them, but a series of, well, Romani-inspired women who come out throwing out flower petals and dancing to introduce Dr. Doom. Doom is satisfied with this rehearsal of his introduction at the UN. Except for you, Stella, you were out of sync during that last curtsy. Doom will have to show you again how to twirl properly. Oh yeah, did you think this was one of those cases where the comic is just standalone? No, this is yet another example of unrelated franchise now technically canon with the Marvel Universe. Right alongside Godzilla, ROM, 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Transformers, and US-1. I can answer all questions pertaining to your transformation, youths, for it was accomplished with magical energies which, by right, belonged to me, just as you, the vessels of said energy, must become the property of Dr. Doom! Doom holds your record contract hostage, Kiss! And yet I am still less evil than the actual record industry, go figure. He explains that the box of quiche, I don't know how to pronounce that and I don't care. The box belonged to his Romani tribe, and it was supposed to be given to him upon his mother's death, but some in the tribe thought its power was too much for Doom to possess, and thus stole the box and brought it to the United States for safekeeping. The old guy who gave them the box, Dizzy the Hun, was the guy who did that. So was Dizzy the Hun just the name Dr. Doom made up for him, or is it an affectionate nickname that the tribe gave him and it just kind of stuck? Also, if we assume that the handmaidens chose to wear the stereotypical Romani garb, does that mean Dizzy's outfit is supposed to be a traditional male outfit? Gene Simmons thinks that this is just gonna lead to them being taken to Latveria. No human being since Hitler has understood the psychology of power as Doom does. But as much as I'd like to study at his feet, I don't think I'd get off on licking his boot. Bold choice to have a band member in your promotional comic for said band admit, I want to study at the foot of a dictator as bad as Hitler. The handmaidens pull out ridiculous-looking guns that'd make a Rob Liefeld character blush and fire at them, but the demon fights back by shooting flame at one, revealing the handmaiden to be a robot. Cold, heartless, mechanical products of technology. Like some waitresses I know, wanting to study under dictators, insulting service workers. Our heroes, everybody! Doom starts retreating back to the moonship as they destroy the robots. In retrospect, Doom did not really have a plan for this eventuality. Doom will just have to go after some other band, like Aerosmith or something. As they finish off the robots, Doom flies away, and apparently people are starting to crowd around them. Not that we see that. So Ace decides to teleport them all again. Though admittedly, he apparently doesn't have much control over it. I'll bet this lands us in Jersey City. Or even beyond. Anyway, we cut to beyond. So, better than Jersey City, at least. But yeah, they're floating in space in this 2-page spread. Beyond. Far beyond. What we call the world seems suddenly to evaporate, leaving only the fresh scent of pine. The narration says they're floating through an interdimensional void, though is it really a void when there's splotches of paint everywhere that I presume are supposed to be stars or energy or something? Just the unearthly cold, the sense of weightlessness, the terrible isolation from all that is familiar, and the falling into forever. A space outside time. Upside, though, DoorDash still delivers to it. Lest you think that Dr. Doom was the only Marvel staple to make an appearance, we now have a montage of Marvel superheroes reacting to what happened with Dr. Doom. J. Jonah Jameson dispatches Peter Parker to get photos of Kiss, the Fantastic Four reacting to a photo of Kiss that someone was able to get, I guess, only for them to be contacted by the Avengers to ask if they know anything about this, because Dr. Doom is technically their nemesis. When the dude is the leader of a country with aspirations to rule the world, does he really count as any one particular group's archenemy? They call up Doctor Strange to see if he knows anything about this from a mystical angle, and he specifically asks them not to interfere because he does know what's happening, thanks to Dizzy the Hun, who's hanging out with him. Are they still visible in your crystal, Doctor Strange? The four youths? Yes, Dizzy, but their images are fading rapidly. Damn Comcast keeps claiming my previous internet plan was discontinued and are trying to make me pay for more, so the connection's garbage. Their journey through dimensional space is nearly at its end.
You've got mail.
Strange briefs his team and the Defenders about how they shouldn't interfere, for the group will emerge wiser and stronger for this journey than if they had helped. Man, I always hear jokes about the eclectic lineups of the Defenders, but consider we've got Daredevil, the Hulk, Valkyrie, Doctor Strange, and Damon Hellstrom, the son of Satan. We gotta do a review of some of their book at some point beyond Secret Defenders. So anyway, the story is interrupted by a little essay and pictorial about the blood donation for the ink, as well as some publicity photos for it, plus a parody ad in the vein of the Marvel swimsuit issues for Air Latveria. Now at this point, a lot of you are probably wondering, why the hell is this the 666th review? What made me choose this to be that one? To the point where I actually reorganized my original plans so that this would be the episode instead of something easier before October hit. Yeah, sorry to burst people's bubbles who kept saying, wow, the 666th episode is gonna be in October. Convenient and appropriate. No. This episode was supposed to come out September 27th. I'm still lagging behind. Proper October episodes and a Shock the Fourth Wall are next time. And yeah, the appearance of the son of Satan isn't really enough to justify this, so what gives? Well, we begin chapter 2, precisely as hot as hell. So does hell use Fahrenheit or Celsius? Or do they play against type and go for Kelvin? Jean and Paul rematerialize in what appears to be heaven. Why such puzzlement, young ones? Can it be you do not recognize this place? Well, yeah, but I kinda wasn't expecting as many naked babies in heaven as there are. Sure, cherubs and all, but I kinda just assumed that was artistic license. It's your everlasting reward, a party continuing unto eternity.
Rule number 1, party all the time.
You shall know total satisfaction, spiritually, physically, in all ways. Ace is currently playing a pinball machine where the ball will never drop. Gene is skeptical of all this and decides to go look around, but apparently heaven has off-limits areas, so God, or Gandalf, or whoever the hell this guy is, tells him they're dead and they have no choice but to accept their fate, and has the cherubs launch arrows at him. Can't be serious about splitting, man! Really? These chicks act like they've just discovered boys! Doesn't that mean they won't know what to do with your boners then? Gene unleashes his fire breath at the cherubs, and they transform into demons.
This is the bad place.
And thus he burns the angel or whatever, and he's revealed as Mephisto. And that is why this is the 666th episode. Kiss versus frickin' Mephisto. What would be more appropriate for this show? Side note, Ace can just teleport them into hell? The women who are all over Starchild transform into succubi, but not the stereotypical barely naked ones with horns and demon tails or whatever.
No, Polly, don't squirm. We still want you.
Admittedly, I'm actually still kind of into this. Gene, no rush! Gene says that Mephisto must have plucked them out of interdimensional space and wonders why the hell he did so, while unleashing his snake boots to attack him. And hey, Starchild's rejection of the succubi is actually that he prefers total honesty in a relationship, and thus uses his I-beam power to transform them into their true forms. Little slug caterpillar things. My desire to have sex with you ladies has now diminished. Although it's not completely gone yet, ladies. I just wanted the honesty. Mephisto shoves away the boots and says that he wanted Kiss to serve him willingly, thus was going to tempt them with the false vision of heaven, since, he couldn't take his marriage away. Mephisto points out that he could always abduct them again, so they'd be better off just embracing the illusions he casts.
And if you do, you'll find me just as contentious. I relish my new power. I want to savor it, wield it at my whim. Better by far to dominate on Earth than to serve in hell. Your audacity astounds even my jaded sensibilities, demon.
I would just like to note at this point that the bass player of Kiss, a guy called The Demon, knew better than Spider-Man to make deals with Mephisto. Mephisto elects to teleport them away, and we begin Chapter 3, The Andromeda Hustle. Still a better dance than the Dougie. We check in with the other two, who have materialized in, well, it looks like some kind of dance club full of cat people, though that's not the weird part. I mean, this is a comic about Kiss fighting the devil and Dr. Doom. We're well into the weird at this point. No, the weird part is that all the cat people have white faces as if they were wearing makeup too. Just such a bizarre artistic choice for this. The scene is colorful, the beat hypnotic, and beneath the loud, gaudy veneer, there's nothing. All form, no substance. In short, a disco. Yeah, why can't disco have more dignity, like Kiss? The guys in gaudy, spangly, glittery outfits, one of whom is named Catman.
Ace, I think I'm gonna be sick. That's space out there! The old final frontier!
Oh great, a disco in space. AAU Superstar is gonna show up any second now to kick their asses. At least when the Demon and Starchild weren't questioning where the others are, they thought they were in heaven. It was a bit of a distraction. These two have suddenly shown up in a disco in space and are just like, hey, let's find some hot women to dance with. And indeed, Catman soon finds a non-painted cat girl named Mandu across the bar. They lock eyes and start dancing. Once they're done, they move away, probably to make out, but Ace overhears some other people saying that Mandu is the girl for Big Leo, and that means there will likely be trouble. The love cats start exchanging some romantic words, though the good Peter Criss says that he can't stay because of his duties on Earth. Not that it matters anyway, because Big Leo and his gang of other anthropomorphized animals show up to kick his ass. Fortunately, with Ace's help, the two were able to make short work of Leo and his goons. They say their farewells to Mandu. I see Gene, and Paul, and Vanilla! Vanilla Ice, the 5th Kiss member. Our heroes teleport back together, arriving in the mountains of Latveria. However, they're not met by Dr. Doom, but Dizzy. And man, Dizzy's gonna be friggin' cold in that outfit. You'd think Doctor Strange would have sprung for a jacket or something.
So hear me well, flaming youths, for time is short. All you've experienced since departing Earth, the wonders, the temptations, the agonies, all of it has been part of a process of learning and growth.
Man, I want the training process where you get to make out with cat girls and punch the devil. He warns them that while they now understand their own powers and abilities more, so does Doom, and they have to recognize that raw power won't be enough to defeat him. At this point, a bunch of Doombots arrive to attack them. Geez, they look like death warmed over. And cloned. Like some waitresses I know, if you catch my meaning. No, I don't! What is with your obsessive hatred of waitresses, Ace? They soon use their powers to destroy the Doombots. Dizzy warns them not to get cocky, but Jean thinks it's fine. At least until part of the mountain rises up and reveals a pair of stone lips.
Doom has decided that no woman can handle him, and as such, Doom has made a blow-up doll out of an entire mountain.
The mountain lips, or whatever, begin sucking them in, and the situation is not made any better by Space Ace continually bringing up double entendres and sexual references. Now boys, one doesn't resist a lover. The harder you struggle against her, the more fatal her attraction grows.
Phrasing.
Obviously!
Still, they finally convinced the others to not fight back against it, since it was the resistance that was pulling them in. However, all of a sudden, the group are teleported into interdimensional space or whatever, where Dr. Doom is waiting. The demon tries to attack.
Do not waste the effort, demon! The entire length of Dr. Doom's armor is electrified! And Doom has to say, rather enjoying it, really. Should have installed the vibration mode in this thing years ago.
Doom is able to knock them all down, annoyed that the gargantuan power is wasted on these four. Yeah, the power is so gargantuan! What with you being able to just wipe the floor with them? Ace distracts Doom for a moment by reminding him of his childhood, which gives Starchild an opening to attack, using his magic eye beam on him. It summons up Doom's painful memories of his own childhood, his father being killed by a racist mob, and eventually being forced to take on the armor. Dizzy then shows up out of a magic door? Where the hell are they? And because Dizzy was part of Victor's Romani tribe, he tries to get him to see that Kiss is just like him, full of potential and that they need to be allowed to use it. What's more, he thinks Victor secretly admires him.
Do not preach to me, Aged One! Victor, the child you knew, perished long ago! Dr. Doom knows what he feels and what he wants! Doom wants mastery over all stick shifts!
Dizzy brings up Doom's father and how he'd be ashamed of him, and while it looks like Doom is ready to kill him over this, he stops himself, since Dizzy was the guy who tutored his mom in the mystic arts and spoke the eulogy over her grave. You know, part of Doom's deal is that his mom's soul is imprisoned by Mephisto. He could just team up with Kiss to go back to hell and beat him up. But yeah, Doom is so frustrated with these events that he banishes them from Latveria, saying they've not heard the last of him, but for now, this is over.
Well, consider yourself conquered, I gotta go.
The group teleports back to New York and reverts back to their civilian forms. Dizzy says they can continue to be these superheroes by night, but by day they need to resume their normal lives, putting the totems back in the box. Also, we learn the proper pronunciation for it, the Box of Kiss. And so our comic ends with the group deciding that that will be their new identities. Kiss. And somehow their powers in the 80s make them lose the makeup. Anyway, this comic is pretty damn good, even if it is really, really goofy. Its biggest flaws are that sometimes stuff just happens for no reason, like them teleporting into hell and some space station full of alien cat girls and space disco. Doom's defenses in Latveria consist of Doombots and a mountain-sized pair of lips that suck you in if you resist them. And also, we can teleport them into some cosmic room that a random barbarian sorcerer can just open a door into. Still, the characters have fairly distinct personalities. The plot works as an overall superhero origin, which apparently was part of the idea of KISS with their stage personas based on the brief research I did. And the artwork is overall solid, with some good action and varying locales and emotions. The ending is a bit rushed though, and it feels like Dizzy did most of the heavy lifting for them. Sure, they certainly contributed, especially Starchild using the Mood Eye beam to get Doom to remember his childhood and whatnot, but it was Dizzy who eventually got him to stop. You could argue that Doom is just much more experienced and that's why he's able to toss them around so much, but for such an awesome power these guys supposedly wield, they don't do a lot of damage. I also think we could have used more time with them fighting Mephisto, because I always love seeing him get punched. Also not sure how this leads into them becoming a band, but whatever. Next time, Atop the Fourth Wall begins. So press play on the video and get ready to dive into a well. It's Volume 1 of the Ring manga.
Sitting on my couch reviewing comics, the worst books that you will ever see. It's said that comic books are for geeks, but they're not. They're for everybody. Linkara. If you doubt that I am a man, I am a man.
It has a ring to it. This is a job for KISS. So be it. I name thee Metallica.
Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching.